All right, ladies, holistic menstrual health. This is going to be a quick introduction to the Jade Temple and the Red Dragon course, which covers menstrual health, breast health, sexual health, about 4 hours of information, wisdom, and techniques that I have gleaned over the last 25 years of studying information that is thousands of years old. So, practitioners have been working with women's health for a very long time in China. And we will also incorporate wise woman healing techniques, excuse me, yoga, belly dance, things like that. So, to start out, how I approach holistic menstrual health is always through the 5 pillars. The 5 pillars are holistic nutrition, custom herbal care, posture and movement, myofascial self-care, and mindset. And when we combine all of these, we are getting any condition from multiple levels. So, for example, if we have a lot of cramping, we can use an herbal formula to support that. We can use a topical oil, for example, castor oil. We can do a castor oil pack over our liver and over our uterus, over our breasts if we have fibrocystic breasts. We can pay attention to what is going into our bodies and what is getting stuck in our bodies. So we can look at, how can we eat foods that are more deeply nourishing, that support our circulation to our womb, as well as helping to kick out things that should not be there. For example, synthetic estrogens. And we'll talk a little bit more about synthetic estrogens in just a minute. So, holistic nutrition is super important. Herbal care is especially important for helping kick out those synthetic estrogens that can keep our body from flushing out what it needs to. Movement and posture therapy is important because when we have a lot of compression from poor posture over our bellies, the tension that builds up in our pelvis will not be able to be released. And so that can cause sexual dysfunction, menstrual pain and cramping, heavy bleeding, all kinds of issues that are actually can be reduced pretty quickly. And for myofascial self-care, we, check out the fascia that's running not only over the womb area, but also following the pathways, especially focusing on the inner leg pathways, which we go more deeply into in the course. But the 3 main pathways that run through the pelvis are the liver, the spleen, and the kidney pathways. And this means that from the big toe and the bottom of the foot, we have lines of connective tissue that run alongside nerves and blood vessels and muscles and pass through our womb and our pelvis so that we can work on those internal areas through this pathway. So, for example, we could press a point on our foot with acupressure and affect how our womb is functioning. And so that is something that is actually really effective and really powerful. And acupuncture is great, but acupressure can work just as well. You just need to do it regularly and consistently, and you'll see really good results. And then mindset. Mindset's a big one. We have to be devoted enough to ourselves to do the care that we need consistently to see the results. So working through the limiting beliefs of self-worth and, pushing or getting rid of the thoughts, releasing the thoughts that keep us from being able to take care of ourselves like we need to is really important. For breast health, especially, massage is especially effective. And that is because we are not only working on the muscle tissue, we're working on the connective tissue, but we're also working with the lymphatics. And when our lymphatics are congested, they actually can put pressure on our nerves, causing a lot of tenderness. And so, one of the ways that we can clear the lymphatics is with gentle massage just under the skin. Dry brushing is great for that as well. There are specific herbal formulas that I personally recommend quite frequently to my clients that struggle with menstrual conditions, that really help to move and clear the lymphatic system, and they get great results just with that. So not only doing gentle massage, but also making sure that our fascia, that our connective tissue is spread nice and evenly. A lot of times we'll get bunching up over our breastbone. We'll get bunching up over our pec muscles. And if there's any compression through there at all, it can cause the fluid to build up inside the breasts. It can cause waste products to build up. And then our bodies will try to encapsulate them so they're not an issue. It can just cause all kinds of issues. So just moving the fluids out and making sure that our connective tissue is nice and even. We can do that through massage, we can do that through stretching, we can do that through gentle movements. The flowing movements of goddess flow, healing dance are great for that. Chi alchemy inner fire practice is great. So there are lots of ways to move the fluids and clear the chest area and over the womb. The other thing that's really important is self-awareness. And so often we're sort of disconnected, especially from our womb area, and even more so if we have some trauma, especially unprocessed trauma. And so it becomes really important to choose to work through that as you are able. It doesn't necessarily happen quickly. It can sometimes, and other times it can take a while, but it's definitely worth the process. And one of the best ways I found to do that is through somatic movement therapy. And I use a special process that I've created called Somaya, which is lifting the veils of illusion around emotions. So becoming aware that we have emotions stuck within us, that want to move, that want to flow, and allowing ourselves to let them flow is really important. And that can strongly affect our general health, but specifically things like PMS. When we have a lot of emotions built up inside of us, it creates a certain kind of tension deep in our body. And specifically, it can affect kind of through our ribs, into our breasts, around our pelvis. And as women, we tend to hold on to so many things. We're unable to express or to ask for our needs or to take the time that we need to really deeply care for ourselves and process our emotions. So when we allow ourselves to do that, we can make pretty big progress. Just sometimes you need help with it, and that's what we're here for. And if you have deeper issues, maybe more severe trauma, we love to recommend people that we've worked with before that can help with that deeper healing. The other thing that we work with when we're looking at menstrual health is the state of our hormones. And for women, a big one is estrogen. We can look at other hormones as well, but what I've found is that when we balance the estrogen levels in our body, then everything else tends to balance out accordingly. And the problem or the issue with estrogens in our modern times as modern women is that we have a lot of synthetic estrogens that we get from our environment, from plastics, pesticides, other chemicals, from birth control pills and other prescription medications. And so, hormones in the foods we eat, all kinds of things. And so those synthetic estrogens will bind to the estrogen receptors in our womb. And even though we may be producing estrogen, our own natural estrogen, our body can't actually use it. And so it will build up in our bloodstream and create more stress on our liver because it's having to constantly recycle them, as well as causing issues with our menstruation because we're not able to take in our estrogens and use them to help the process. So when we look at nutrition and herbal care and myofascial care and lymphatic drainage, in working with hormones, a big part of it is just getting those synthetic estrogens out. And they can build up in the body, in the bloodstream, but more importantly, they tend to build up in fat tissue. Our body stores them in fat tissue to protect. And to do that, it often will lower our metabolism. So if we're eating less food, trying to balance, our weight, maybe getting more exercise, we're finally starting to lose some of that weight we've been working on for so long. Then our body comes along and says, nope, we need that fat to store the estrogen in. So it will lower your metabolism even more. And a lower metabolism can cause digestive issues, it can cause poor circulation, can cause more emotional changes. So it's really important to deal with the synthetic estrogens and keep your metabolism as high as possible. And that means eating food. It means enjoying your food. It means having a strong digestion. And it means building your inner fire. Inner fire is, I think of it as similar to the Shakti in Kundalini Yoga. But it's more emanating from our womb. And when our womb is awake and alive and has really good circulation, and we have really good self-awareness, then we can cultivate this inner fire that we can then circulate through our bodies. And so it's really powerful. It's more than just physical health. It's a way to connect to our inner goddesshood. It's a way to connect to the earth. And it's a way to cycle energy through our body that works well for our particular feminine style. We definitely, the circulation between the breasts and the womb is very important for our sexual health. As women, when we have a lot of tension in our chest and our hearts, it can be very challenging to shift into a sensual or sexual space. And then if we have womb trauma on top of it or other issues, we can feel very disconnected from our sensual selves. And our sensuality is one of our most powerful attributes. So if we can reconnect to that power, reconnect to orgasmic health, then we can use that energy to more deeply heal our body, to more deeply process emotions, to feel more connected to the earth, to the heavens, and to circulate those energies within us so that we can shift and keep up leveling over time. It doesn't have to be static. We don't just have to reach one level of health and then we're done. We need to keep working through, keep processing, and keep growing in our health. So that is just some of the things that working with holistic menstrual health can do. There's so much more, and I want to share it with you, but I am running out of time in this video. So next video we'll do a little bit of acupressure. I'll show you how to do a gentle abdominal massage to promote womb health, and maybe we'll do a little upper breast massage as well. And then I'll answer any questions that have come up. All right, talk to you soon.